Well, Zanu-PF President Emmerson Mnangagwa has arrived at the National Sports Stadium in Harare ahead of his address in his party's final rally. Well, today is the last day for political parties to capture the hearts and minds of voters in Zimbabwe. We now cross live to SABC's Chriselda and Peter Ndoro, who are at the National Sports Stadium in Harare, where Zanu-PF will be holding its final rally. We do understand that it is also where President Emmerson Mnangagwa will be addressing the rally in just a couple of moments from now. A very good afternoon to you from our side, Peter. Final momentum, all systems go in all the rallies that are taking place across Zimbabwe. We also understand that Mnangagwa has arrived. Describe the mood at the stadium.
Thanks very much indeed. Yes, we're live at the National Sports Stadium, and this is the venue for the last and final rally for the governing party, Zanu-PF, as they're about to witness the entrance of the president as in about, I would guess, 10-15 minutes time is going to present Chriselda his final chance to convince his supporters and Zimbabwe to vote for him.
Well, that's right. As the stadium, of course, screams loud, everybody cheering, waiting, of course, on the president to arrive. Of course, as protocol would have it, you would have the vice president arrive first. You've got Constantino Chiwenga, who's arrived with his wife. You've also got the national chairperson of Zanu-PF, who's also taken to the podium already. But the moment that everybody, of course, is waiting for is for that arrival of President Emmerson Mnangagwa to see what he has to say. Quite crucial. This is the final push. What comes of Monday's election, we don't know at this stage, Peter, but as we have been saying, there seems to be an element of wanting so much progression for this country, once Africa's breadbasket.
And so it'll be interesting to see what that final message is going to be. He's had 8 months as president since he took over from President Mugabe, who resigned in November last year. And many would say that it might not have been long enough to convince everybody that Zanu-PF is in reform, that it's in renewal, and that there's a new message. But he certainly has managed to convince a lot of people, international community. We've seen investments coming into the country over time. But I guess for the man on the street, he has to make up his mind about, has my life changed? Is my life going to change if I continue to vote for Zanu-PF or switch sides and vote for Zanu-PF? And perhaps that's what he's going to have to do today, is to convince the masses that it is not what it was like, that this new party of his is new, with a new message, with new hope.
And that's exactly it, Peter. Whatever message it is that both Zanu-PF and the MDC Alliance give today, it's really got to resonate with the ordinary man on the street, because it is them that have to stand in the long lines at banks to get money. It is them at the end of the day have to fend for themselves to find food. It is them who have to resort to other means, including the informal economy, to feed their families. It is them that have seen their loved ones leave Zimbabwe to go and look for greener pastures elsewhere around the world in order to make sure that back home here, and that's exactly it. I think just before we came to Harare as well, speaking to some of those who have left, gone to South Africa, for example, who've said they will return to Zimbabwe once they know they'll be able to look after their families. And in fact, one of my colleagues, Mangoba Mkunu, was in Johannesburg just a couple of hours ago, monitoring some of the bus ranks. And there's so much enthusiasm. They are getting on buses today. Some of them will make a last-minute dash for it tomorrow in order to get here in time to cast their votes.
All right. So just to let you know, this coverage is right across the country. We've got a team in Bulawayo, and we're also going to be covering the opposition party's rally a little bit later on. But it looks as if that the president himself is arriving in the stadium right now.
Right, yes.
And there's, I'm not sure if we can pick up the pictures now, but thank you very much indeed for joining us. Please welcome. How are you, sir?
How are you?
Very well indeed. The president is about to speak. What is his likely message going to be?
Absolutely. He is delivering the last line message to the population, to the people of Zimbabwe, to choose leadership, to choose compassionate, to choose a strategy for this country, and to choose the action plan which is appropriate to deliver the Zimbabwe we want.
Do you think he's done enough in the 8 months that he's been president to convince people that he's the right man for the job? Many will say, but hang on, he's been in this system for 30 years. What is he going to do different now?
Absolutely different. I've answered that question many times. In fact, what I believe is that he is a different man. He is a person who has come in and liberated, provided the freedom to the people of Zimbabwe. Everybody has the ability to form political parties, to campaign freely. The media yourself, you are very free to be here, and you are comfortable actually to speak to each and anyone in Zimbabwe. And people have been tired and they are desirous to get the Zimbabwe which should revive its economy for the future.
Why was the president unable to make contributions, significant changes to the country whilst he was still deputy president?
In fact, that is what resonates, distinguishes a great leader. Because a leader is the one who can be led. A great leader is one who can be led. If you can't be led, you can't be a leader. So it depends who is the chief executive officer of that country. And whenever he took the podium and he saw to the people of Zimbabwe that he is now the chief executive officer, despite that it was a very short speech, a very short stint, he made a commitment. And what he has achieved, he has been a man of action and not just a man of promises.
All right, so I'm a citizen, let's say I'm at home right now, I'm listening to the president, but the reality is I can't get my money out of the bank. How do you convince me that my life is better?
I have mentioned that the main issues of shortage of cash from the banks, it goes down into the roots of the fundamental pillars of the economy. And it is the economy.
All right, we're going to leave it there for the playing of the national anthem. All right, so the proceedings are about to start now. The national anthem has been played, and perhaps just one final word about the message you're hoping to hear from the president now.
Well, the whole point which the president is going to be appealing to all the electorate, to the people of Zimbabwe in general, is that here is the time has come to choose success, to choose stability, to choose the future, to choose a party which has rejuvenated itself, which has learned from the past, and which has set up for the future in order to deliver again the Zimbabwe which they are expecting. And so that all these economic fundamentals, which His Excellency has primarily said economics first and politics second, what it means is that, and demonstrated by the issues which have already been achieved within these 6 months, it is really testimony for better things to come for the next 5 years.
All right, words of optimism there. Thank you very much indeed for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us. Chriselda, I suppose everything is now starting, and very shortly we're going to be hearing the final message from the current president. And the question is, from Monday onwards, will he get another term?
Interesting to find that he asked the question, what kind of future will Zimbabweans choose? Is it a future with the Zanu-PF at the helm, or whether a future for Zimbabwe with the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance at the helm? Certainly, all of that remains to be seen, but we'll try to bring you live that address by President Emmerson Mnangagwa live here at the National Sports Stadium in Harare.
All right, so that's where we're going to leave it for the time being, but don't forget we are across the country, and we will be bringing you stories from the other rallies as well, so don't think we're just fixated here. All of that's still to come. Let's go back to Johannesburg.
This is for me, our farmers, right, with their politicians, all opposition parties, must start at the president door to door. Women sleep, graduates, disabled, youth, war vets,
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
All right.
That's right.
All right, so Bulawayo, is that happening or not happening at all? I suppose we just wait for Mnangagwa now. Because they were hoping to go to Turkey, so...
No, they will go.
After you.
Oh,
Yes.
they go now.
Yeah.
Who could believe you to be
The rights are not on the stage yet.
from the day of operation to restore legacy to be lost to the end of such
You understand?
election campaign of the
I'm not
century?
doing my
Yes, you made it, you did it. Says today, Jehovah akatarinda makereke ose akashikosunamatirira izvezvo mafambire amakangarichitira kulamiwa mamanyire masikire amakaita maprovinces masikire amakaita maprovinces madistricts mawards mavillages chakasara chikava
I can give you the guy, but there's this
ndakakuonai usina mainoku maletenesi einoku mavice president noku wakakusara kavanhu.
Are you fine with my shot?
Nhari dzechingovaino muchikarira muchidzara rugare nemisodzi dzautano dzadenziwa haina kunogara nesodzi dzautano uchakohwa nomufaro zvose zvinozvanamaaisanaaa ruchingova rugare saka ndiani angabhauta mashoko aketoo zvaka achiona kushingaira kwamaita zvaakataura munetekohwana vafree achiti nzvimbo imwe neimwe ichasika nokufamba kwako ichaita iyo The peace will still prevail. Victory is still to settle.
That one is still on the ground. They don't mind if to stop it from being put on the police. Then we just what was it?
How are they going to act? Is it going to be one day?
I think it's going to I don't.
During the elections, after the elections, during the inauguration,
There's the sound. How are you doing sound?
the law of law. Amen. President Mnangagwa
President Mnangagwa, kuwina my election. Your Excellency,
And of course, we're giving you split screens there as Zanu-PF kicks off its final rally there in Harare. Let's now cross over to our reporter, Tsipiso Makwetla, who is giving us all the updates from Bulawayo. We do know that MDC's Nelson Chamisa is set to spearhead his rally there in Bulawayo. Very good afternoon to you, Tsipiso. Just take us through some of the detail on the ground of how the rallies are continuing your side.
Shantae, thank you very much. We are coming to you live from the Avon Theatre, which is here in Bulawayo, where any moment now, in fact, as I speak to you, the leader of MDCT, Dr. Thokozani Kupe, is arriving. We're going to see if we can stop her vehicle to see if we can have an interview with her. Dr. Thokozani Kupe is the leader of MDCT, and she is the leader of the breakaway faction of the MDC Alliance, and she is getting out of the vehicle now. They will be bringing her so that she can speak to us. Now, just looking at a survey of the various manifestos that have been evaluated by all political parties, it has been said that of the top 5, MDCT does make it to it. It seems that they have whisked her away. Anyhow, as I was saying, Shante, of the 5 manifestos that make it to the top 5, MDCT is counted. But the criticism against MDCT is that it's one of the shortest manifestos. It's 22 pages long. It is one with the least amount of detail. The fact that it is inactionable, that within 100 days of coming to office, none of what it proposes will be able to be implemented. Now, just looking at that list again, it is said that the most inspiring of the manifestos is MDC Alliance Manifesto and Zanu-PF. The criticism, though, against the MDC Alliance is that it is really out of touch with the needs and wants of the people. Zanu-PF, though credited with a very detailed manifesto, it said that it too is inactionable. Looking at some of the parties and the manifestos, the Build Zimbabwe manifesto has been said to be also one of the better of the manifestos, but one of the major criticisms of that manifesto is that it's too parliament dependent, that without parliament it cannot action any of the promises. Well, let's take you inside into the stage at Avalon Theatre to hear what the MDCT leader, Dr. Thokozani Kupe, has to say. Shante.
Definitely, it's a piece. So we thank you very much for giving us the updates there from Bulawayo, as MDC are also taking us through their final marks through the final day of the rallies there in Bulawayo. We'll also continue to give you those live crossings from Bulawayo. But of course, we know that the EFF celebrations are well underway in the Eastern Cape this afternoon.